Tom Painter from the Success and Money Foundation. I've got my good friend, my mentor, Mr. Robert Allen, on with us. Robert Allen is a famous author. You know, he has done amazing things in his lifetime, and I'm one of those things. I've had a lot of mentors in my life, but the probably the greatest mentor that created systems. My dad was massively inspirational in my life to teach me things and introduce concepts to me and actually doing it. We didn't just talk about it, we did it. So as a young kid, I did it. I had my own little businesses. I had my own little investment accounts. I was making money, 12% on my money as a teenager. And we didn't just talk about it, we did it. And then I went to college, served a Christian mission, and then I got a chance to meet Robert Allen. And I wanted to learn the systems, and he created the systems. So there's a system to all of this. And I had a chance to work with Bob. It took quite a bit for me to get through the front door. But he's been a godsend to me and my family. And the foundation would not be here if it would have been for Bob. Simple, just that simple. And he is here to help us get to our next level. One of the big things that Bob's always taught me from way back was that of giving and helping other people. I remember one of his quotes was, you know, if I had a chance of fixing up a property or fixing up a person, I'd fix up a person. And that's what we do here. The foundation wouldn't be here without Bob. So Robert, I'm going to let you take it away. We're celebrating a big milestone today at 50,000 students. But I'm going to introduce my good friend, Mr. Robert Allen.
Bob. Thank you, Thomas. Tell me, what was it that made you really pursue, if you will, pursue me to be your mentor? You worked on in my company for a while, and you rose from janitor to networking with me, and then finally becoming my business partner. So what was the drive that made you do that, Thomas? Because this is a drive everybody needs to understand here today. If you really want something, you have to go get it. So what gives you the ability to go get things, Thomas?
Well, I'm one of 10 children, and we had a wonderful life, a lot of family. My mom and dad were both born in 1930, so they grew up during World War II and basically a depression. And they didn't even have the two nickels to rub together. My great grandfather lost the family farm because he couldn't pay the back taxes on it. His dad didn't help him much. The great grandfather got remarried and didn't help my great grandfather out. Lost the family farm, had devastating effects on my grandfather and my father. And those things rippled down through my life. And if you don't change them, then it ripples down to my kids and grandkids. Well, my grandfather made some big choices and changes, and my dad did too. And so that made a huge difference in me, and I could see how that made a huge difference. For me personally, I just saw a lot of problems in the world, and I felt like I couldn't fix them. I couldn't help. Traveling around the world, especially lately, been able to see the one thing that I know is that parents all over the world want their children to have a better life. That was a big thing for me, not being able to help. But the big thing was that I figured out that life is a game and games are fun. So let's go have some fun playing the game. What I really learned from Bob was it was just a game, and let's go have some fun playing the game. And the only way that you can get what you want out of life is to help other people get what they want out of life. Just
yeah, that's true.
And Bob, I wasn't even qualified to be the janitor. It took me months going back there. I went to the Nothing Down seminar. Didn't have enough money to get in, but I talked the lady and let me stay in because I was going to school, and I had my psych book and my physics book out in the car. And I says, if I'm going to show you, I can prove to you I'm going to college. Will you give me a student discount? And she says, can you prove it? And I literally went out in the car and brought back those two books. And she says, okay, I'll let you stay. And I went through the Nothing Down seminar. And the one thing, I mean, I was overblown by all the pieces because it was so new to me. But the one thing that I had was belief that it was possible. I believed it was possible because there's so many ways to do it. It was possible. And just out of just pure coincidence. Where I was going to college was the same place where Bob lived, and I went to his office uh, and asked for a job. I didn't want a job. I wanted to hang out with people doing it, and I got a chance to travel and work with Nick. Nick had done 1,100 houses, you know, and just all these guys that threw me out. And it's about proximity.
Mm,
But that was a big deal for me, and it was a big deal because you created it. You created it, Bob.
well, take a deep breath of your dreams. All of you realize that the first step was the belief. Belief and desire. Really, what do you want? When do you want it? Why do you want it? Who do you want it for? Who's going to help you? Why do you want it? How are you going to get it? These questions are seven of the most important questions you're going to ask. And most people start with the how. How am I going to do this? And it's because you look at your experience and you realize that you probably don't know how to do it. So you feel unconfident and you feel as if it's not possible for you. So it starts with what do you want? You have to clearly identify that. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be like? You know? So it's these seven specific questions you keep asking over and over and over again. And then write down specifically, what do I really want? Where do I really want to go? Who do I want to be? What kind of person do I want to be? If you just wake up in the morning and it's life is hard and we all have to bring money in the door, pay for our overhead expenses, the living expenses. And so sometimes we're just struggling to put food on the table. But even in the middle of all that effort every single day to just keep your head above water, you have to take some time to ask yourself, what do I really want? Where do I really want to go? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to help? How do I want to help the world? Starting with your own world, fix your own world. But in order for you to get there, you have to think bigger. And so part of the process is changing your identity. You came into this experience with Tom, and you came into it bringing with you your backstory. Where were you born? What kind of family did you have? What kind of education did you have? What kind of challenges, problems, fears? You bring your backstory to this experience right here. And now Tom is trying to share with you all this knowledge about how to make money and to get the stock market working and all these things. But what happens if you brought to this experience no belief, the belief that it wouldn't be possible for you? Why? Because maybe you lived in an environment of people around you who didn't think it was possible. Well, you bring to this all the things you can learn, your identity, you who you were, and you're coming to expand your knowledge on all these things here. And yet, at the very same time, you still have the same mindset, you still have the same body, the same relationships. You're bringing all of your backstory to this. And what does your backstory say? In other words, your backstory is kind of like what you bring to the table. When you bring your life to this table, you see other people eating at the table. You see other people enjoying this experience. You see other people succeeding at this. And yet there may be part of you that because of where you're raised and how you're raised and education and family and everything, wherever you are in the world, doesn't matter. You're showing up to learn some new information. But you brought you to this. Therefore, two of you, I see the faces of all of us here on the class here today. The system for you personally is very different from the person right next to you in the screen right here. As you open up and see all the faces that are here, the person right next to you, above you, below you, is part of this montage, this matrix of people that are here. Every single one of you brought a different backstory to this experience. You brought a different identity, and your identity is kind of identity is a kind of a solid, fixed word like your identity. It's who you are. It's your DNA. You know, you come to this experience as you, but you have to literally transform your identity. You have to transform from the person who didn't think it was possible to the person that believes this is possible for you. So the very easiest way for you to transform your identity, that means who you bring to the table. When you sit down at this table, you have so much more information to learn. It might be too much information. It might be overwhelming when you realize the hundreds and hundreds of videos that have been posted here on the Success and Money Foundation. And you, how do I have time to actually absorb that? Well, you brought your backstory to this experience, and that means how you're living right now, how your family is, you have a life that you're living right now, and you have to squeeze the knowledge of what you're learning here into your life now. And you have to assume that in 5 years from now, your life is going to be much, much better than now. But what if we teach you all this knowledge and you don't believe it's possible for you? What if this vast amount of information is available for anyone who wants it? But what if they have a critical voice that says they're not worthy of it? You can't do it. You're not enough. So not only did you bring your life's experience, I'll call that your backstory or your backstory. You bring your life experience, but you brought the person who lived that experience and thought that way to this today, to here today. And so your identity brought you here. How you think, what your life experience has been, has brought you here. You found yourself here. How did you find yourself here? Well, some part of you knew that you were more. You had more to give and more to get. And so part of you believed that this is probably possible. 50,000 people have joined the Success and Money Foundation, and yet how many stay? Why do they fall away? Because of their identity. Because they brought the way they think, their mindset, they brought it to this, and their mindset wasn't ready for it. Their mindset was doubtful, fearful, worrisome, because they realize they have to bring money in the door. They got to live, they got to survive, right? But in addition to the survival, part of your identity is you want a better life. You know that. So today, what you're doing is you're spending a couple of hours here, and Tom does this every single week. You fit this into your life now. You fit this time that you are learning these things and you're communicating with all the people in the Success and Money Foundation here, and you decided to fit this extra hour into your life. You're already too busy. You have too much to do. You already too much to learn. Too many things you want to learn. And AI now complicates that, massively complicates the entire, because everything you've ever wanted to do or learn is just one click away on AI. ChatGPT, you can learn anything you want, organized, simplified for you, but you have to fit it into your life. AI won't do that for you. AI will tell you what to do, and you can read all these videos and watch all these videos, and it'll tell you what to do. But how do you get it into your life? Well, you have to change your identity of a person who absolutely must do this. It's not something it's not just wanting to do this. It's absolutely desiring. Now, the way Tom did it, he had an identity. He was raised with his family, and his father taught him lots of good things, and was a wonderful mentor for him, and an example for him of what to do and what not to do. You may not have brought that life backstory to your life. It's Tom's backstory, and yet you've brought yourself to this point, and your thinking has to change. So how do you change it? How do you quickly, effortlessly, simply change your backstory actually to your forestory, the story before you? We have the story that's behind you. Anybody here who has any belief that your backstory isn't good enough, that your backstory isn't like Tom Painter's, it's not like Robert Allen's, it's not like all the other mentors you see here. You say, well, I'm not them. I didn't have their life. How can I accomplish what they've accomplished when I came from a totally different background and totally different people who trained me and taught me, and I had problems in my life, and I maybe there were failures, and how can I? Well, you are you, and there's only one of you, and you're here now. And now how do you fit a new identity? Identity is you're going forward. Well, the way you do that is you don't look back, you look forward. And you look 5 years in the future, 3 years in the future, and you ask yourself the question, what do I really want? Suppose all of my backstory didn't count. What if all the failures I had actually prepared me to not be afraid of failure anymore, to actually, I know I've failed before, and so now you say, well, I'm just going to go forward. What if all the things that happen in your life, no matter where you start, because every one of us started in a different place. My mother died the day I was born. It changed my life. I didn't have that nurturing woman in my life to kind of help me and guide me. I had a loving father, but we all have problems in our past. We can always point to them and we could use them as excuses for not investing the time right now to have a better life. And so every day you have to literally write down, this is what I want. Now, what day, when do you want it? Well, 5 years from today, today is the 13th of August, 2026. It'll go out 5 years from today, the 13th of August, 2031. Where are you going to live? What's your life going to be like? You need to tell your brain, the most powerful computer on the planet, your computer right here is on your brain, on your shoulders. Everyone's got a brain. No matter where you came from, you can start right today and you can decide what you want in the future. And what that does for you when you go into the future and say, this is where I want to live, this is the car I want to drive, this is the way my family is being raised, these are the dreams that I have. These are the countries I want to visit. These and you involve your brain. You emotionalize your brain by going into the future and imagining what that future would look like. And don't just imagine it from a distance as if you're looking at it, as I would say, in perspective. And perspective is God's perspective. God sees the world. God sees all the people on the planet. He sees where you are. He sees the country you're raised in. He sees it from perspective. He sees it from a distance, right? Well, you see it from the inside. You see it through your own eyes right now. You're looking at me, talking to you right now, wherever you are. Look at your environment where you live, where are you doing this? On your cell phone, on a computer at home, on at work? Where are you doing this? You're seeing it through your own eyes. Well, I want you to go into the future and wake up in the future and see it through as if you're seeing it through your eyes. In other words, I can't see my ears on the computer. I can see my ears, but when I look over here, I can't see my ears. Why? Because I'm seeing it through my own eyes. I'm seeing life as if I'm seeing it through my own eyes. Therefore, in the future, when you go into the future, where do you want to live? What's the house like? Where city is it located in? You need to be specific. When you wake up in that home, in the bed in that home, wake up as if you're waking up like you woke up this morning. You woke up, where was the bed you woke up in? When you woke up, you looked around, you could see your groggy eyes, you looked around the room, you could see the things that are around you at that point. Now, I want you to step away from it just for a second and imagine noticing yourself. When you woke up this morning, imagine if you were a butterfly on the wall and looking down on the room where you're waking up right now, or yeah, this morning. What did that butterfly see? Sees the room, sees where you're sleeping there. I don't know who you're sleeping with, alone or with someone, with a family around you, or maybe you're single. Your backstory doesn't matter. You can turn any backstory into an amazing future story. It has nothing to do with where you came from, who you lived, whatever excuses you've been giving yourself for not being good enough to step into the role of a person who wants to be better. All those excuses can be turned into superpowers. As a matter of fact, there are people who have a lot worse stories than you. Millions of people have a lot worse stories than you, and they still did whatever it took, bringing their identity to whatever they wanted, their dreams, and they made those things happen despite all the excuses you might have given yourself for not doing it, for not being smart enough, fast enough, good enough, rich enough, whatever. These are all excuses. Excuses are they hold you down. You need to turn your excuses into superpowers. In other words, suppose I was raised in a family that was abusive to me. I could find you a million people who had worse abusive stories than you and succeeded, not despite it, because of it. Because they said to themselves, that will never happen to me again. When I raise my family, I will never do what my parents did to me. Never. And therefore, it created a sense of determination in them. So what the bottom line is, you have to invest time every day, now, this day, to imagine a better life and to imagine in all five senses and to see it through your own eyes as if you're living it. When you wake up 5 years from today, what will the room like be that you're in? Well, open your eyes and imagine viewing the room you're in, the home you're in, the location you're in, the people who are around you. Imagine that. Now, you've heard this done, you've heard this, the visualization stuff before. It's everywhere. We're not visualizing, we're virtualizing. That means we're waking up and we're inside our bodies and we're seeing through our eyes and we're experiencing what we want the future to feel like, to be like. When we wake up, we walk through the house, we see on the walls the paintings we have there, we see the kitchen, somebody's cooking something in the kitchen. Maybe your wife has a favorite dish for you. Maybe your husband makes the breakfast in the morning. Um, Whoever, but something's cooking in the kitchen, and you can smell it, and you can taste it. And that's making it virtual. You're virtually experiencing what you want to experience sometime in the future. The date, 13th of August. It has to happen before then, so that when you wake up, and that time, the home you're in is paid for. You have streams of income flowing in because Tom is giving you all kinds of advice on how to put a little bit of money into the smartest investors stock of all time, Berkshire Hathaway. He's showing you how to invest in the markets. It's not that hard to do. And you did it for 5 years and your wealth has started to grow. And you've got a little business that's going, because as Tom teaches the 7 steps over and over and over again, first 5 steps are you got to get control of your life. You got to get control of your money. The money flows in the door. You got to control the money as it flows out, so you're not going into debt. And then you're in steps 2 and 6 and 7. You're doing multiple streams of income. So 5 years from now, imagine that. What will you have created? 5 years from now, what will you have created? Streams of income, little from the stock market, little from a real estate here, maybe a little side hustle, a business you're doing. Imagine that. And imagine it clearly as if it's already happened. Because when you experience it as if it's already happened and you experience it today as if you are waking up Remember, I'm asking you to experiencing something in the future, but you're experiencing it today. Because as you imagine it, waking up in the home you want to live in, it's actually happening today. Therefore, what does it do to your identity today? Today, your identity is starting to realize that my now story is me actually being a successful investor, living a life where my money is controlled. I got the first 5 steps all figured out. I'm making it. I'm saving it. I'm giving some of it away. Uh, you're living it, and when you imagine, experience your future life today, because there's only one day in which you can experience anything. Anything that happened in the past is gone. The only thing you have left of it is the memories of it, and nothing happens in the future. All you have today is the imagination experience of what's going to happen in the future. But there is only one day in your life where you can make any decisions whatsoever, and that is right now. Therefore, when you imagine it and change and experiencing what you want in the future, you're literally changing your life right now. You're planting in your brain, in the part of your brain where things have already happened. Remember, you've experienced it, so didn't it already happen? It already happened because you experienced it as if it already happened. And therefore, it is part of your brain where memories stay, memories of things that have already happened. It's part of your brain where you'll remember things you experience. There's a part of your brain where you can visualize and you can imagine in the future. It hasn't happened yet. Therefore, if you don't visualize properly, you don't get to change your identity. Your identity is not somebody who sees things I want in the future. Uh, I want you to experience it as if it's already happened. You are the person who did it. And when did you do it? Today. This is the only time you can make any change in your life whatsoever. Now is the only time you can do it. So you imagine experiencing in all 5 senses what you really want. And it changes you subtly, not immediately. You're still bringing your backstory. You still got that critical voice that says you're not worthy, you're not good enough. But you also have a true voice. Your true voice says you were made for this. You were better. You were destined to be a successful person. You were destined to be a better person. You came to this planet to learn and to grow. Your true voice whispers to you that truth, that you can do this. Your critical voice sometimes screams at you in your brain, you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't have enough friends, you can't seem to grasp, you can't grasp these concepts, they're way above you. Your backstory means that you will never have a wonderful future story. And your critical voice is a liar. Your critical voice doesn't want you to win, is a doubter, creates doubt in your mind right now. And you experience it today. You'll experience it many times today, where your critical voice will say, not good enough, not smart enough. You're an idiot, you're stupid. And all of those messages that happen in all of our brains, we all have this little voice. All of us do. Some of us has it louder, some of have it softer. The loud ones are, it's right in your head saying, I'm not good enough. And therefore, the fact that you're here right now watching this means that you did what all incredible successful people do, who have the same critical voice in their heads. Every rich person, every famous person, the top of any industry, of any field of life, they all have the same critical voice, and they all overcame it. All of them said, I want more than what you're telling me that I'm worthy of. I want more. And therefore, you change your identity by imagining what you want. What do you want more? Imagine it. Experience it. Imagine is a good word, but experience is a better word. You need to experience it. Therefore, your identity starts to change. Your mindset starts to change. Your identity is not fixed. You are an acorn, and you were destined to be the most magnificent oak tree you have ever seen. You're the acorn, but the acorn in nature grows all by itself. It grows into that magnificent oak tree, but it still has to suffer through the storms of life. It has to suffer through the soil is not good enough. There's all kinds of reasons where an acorn wouldn't grow into an oak tree, but for human beings, we have our potential in us, or the potential of an acorn. It's in us. We were born with it. It came with us. And we are going to magnificently grow into so much more than any of us could possibly imagine in this life and in the next life. What I'm trying to say is you need to realize that regardless of what your critical voice says to you, you are an acorn and you are destined to be incredibly successful. Period. End of story. Nothing can stop it unless you talk yourself out of it. Unless you decide you're not good enough. And where did you learn that lie? If you have a brain, no matter where you're born, no matter what your past backstory was, you have a brain that can be transformed into an amazing tool, a tool of incredible power. So the simple decision today is to change your identity. Well, what do you want your identity to be? Well, you might say your current identity is your backstory. You brought it with you. It's all your thinking, all the things you've learned, all the doubts, all the fears, all the dreams, all the hopes. It's all you brought that here to us right now. That's your current identity. When you get to 5 years from now, when you get to your future and experience it, how would you describe yourself? What would you say about you? Seeing and experiencing waking up in your new life. Well, it wasn't a new life. Actually, you lived your way to that new life. You experienced your way every step of the way, every day between 365 times 5. That's how many days you had. You did something every day. What do you have to do every day? Every day, there's only one day you ever have, and that's today. And therefore, every day when you wake up, you say, I'm going to invest a little bit of time today to experience what I want and imagine your future. And this is the day when you have to do it. There's only one day you have any power, any control over. It's today. When you go to bed tonight, this day is done. It's in the bank, as we say. How many more days do you have? I have 78 years of days in my life. How many more days do I have? I don't know. But I tell you one thing I did today, something I do every day, because I want to make sure that when I meet my Maker, I will have told him I put him first today. Today I read and prayed, studied the scriptures, read the words of God, because this is the day. One day I'll wake up and I will not wake up. One day I won't wake up and I won't be able to come to that chair that's right over there and to read and study and pray and ask my Father in heaven for advice and bring, we talk about AI, how powerful AI is, and it is incredibly powerful. It's the geniuses of geniuses. It's incredible. Everything you've ever wanted to know. And God makes AI look like a stepchild. God knows infinitely more than AI does. And therefore, you got to include God in your day. One day when you wake up dead, you'll be greeted with people as you come through the tunnel of light, whatever they call it, the near-death experiences that people have had. You'll come into the next life where you'll continue to grow into your oak tree. May not all happen here. You got so much more to learn and to grow into. But we decide today what I want that ideal day to look like. So over the next year, I challenge you to decide to design an ideal day. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would it taste like? What would it smell like? What would how would you experience and imagine the entire day and just design it, because that's all you ever have, one day at a time. So if I woke up and had a perfect day, and for me, I feel if my heart stopped today, I know I could report to my Heavenly Father, I put you first today. I have lots of goals, dreams, plans, hopes, fears. I got all kinds of stuff going on in my life, all kinds of pressures. We all do. But I put you first today, Heavenly Father. You were first. Now I can do whatever I want for the rest of the day. I can pursue the things I want, but I make sure I started on a good foundation. So, th- therefore, starting right, imagining what you want, experiencing what you want, not imagining, but experiencing what you want, building your identity a little bit at a time, slowly over months at a time. Eventually, you become, this is who I am. I am a successful investor. I, I have I have businesses that I operate. I earn streams of income that are residual, that are passive. Uh, every day I have to invest. I can't get it all a result. I can't get my result in one day. I have to piece it out into little tiny pieces that I do every day. But every day I work on the pieces every single day. Now all of you have in your library of things here at the Success of Money Foundation is a little book I wrote called uh, the Four Maps of Happy Successful People. I encourage you to read it, because by doing those four maps every day, you change your identity. You become a person who believes that they deserve what they thought they wanted, but now they've experienced it. This is what I want. This is the way I want it to be. And therefore, you draw these little maps, little smiley faces and frowning faces. It's just simple. One of these days, I'll do a class for everybody here and teach you the four maps. But you can read it in a book. It's really pretty simple. So Tom has created a community of people who have decided they want a better life. And Tom has given you, brought in all of us, all the other leaders he's brought in here, and we've given you our content for you to study. But what if you read it and you say, well, that's not for me, and I'm not good enough for that. And what if the person who arrived to read the book doesn't believe it's even possible for them, believe that they don't have the smarts, the relationships, that they don't have the experience, and they read a book and it shows them how they could change their life, and yet their brain, you brought with you to read that book the person you are right now. And the only way to change that is to experience it in the future and to imagine it. And therefore, slowly, you start to experience the fact that you're feeling a little bit better, you're feeling a little taller, you feel a little, you're connected with the right kind of community. Congratulations to be part of this community. Tom has spent a fortune, millions of dollars putting this together for you, and he's giving it to you. And he's actually paying you to learn it. How absolutely unbelievable. Mr. Painter has given you the vast life that you want. Every single day, you have to invest a little bit of time to experience the future and to change the way you think about yourself, so that when you read the book, You start seeing things you hadn't seen before. Because when you read have you ever read a book a couple times? You read it first time, you thought, oh, that's interesting. You know, learn something. And then you read it again, you go, did I read that last time? No, you didn't read that the last time because you were a different person the last time you read it. This time you read it from different experience, different eyes. You start seeing things you hadn't seen before because your identity has started to expand. And so you start noticing opportunities you had never seen before. They're all around you. You were a little as if you were blind to them. Why? Because the way in which your brain was working caused you not to see the things that were right in front of your face. Therefore, slowly but surely, you change the way you expand your thinking. You build your brain bigger and bigger, and you're smarter and smarter, and you experience the person you want to be in the future. You bring it here to today. Slowly but surely, you start to expand. Right now, you're looking at tiny little a sliver of what's future for you, and your brain sees it this way. Just a little tiny bit. There's a little sliver. Oh, I want some more of that. But as you expand your identity, little by little, oh, oh, oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh, you're not there yet. And neither am I. I've experienced lots of wonderful success, but I'm not even close to understanding what's possible for me and what's possible for you. So I love you. I respect you for being here today. You have what it takes. Regardless of what your little critical brain gives you all the excuses of why you don't have what it takes, you do have what it takes. And one day at a time, you're going to get there. That's my message, my love for you. I wish you all well. Thank you, Tom, for giving me this opportunity to pontificate for 45 minutes. I'll turn the time back to you, Mr. Painter.
Guys, the foundation would not be here if it wasn't for Robert Allen. Flat out, it would not exist. So a big tip my hat to Bob. He's made a massive influence on my family, on me. You know, I have two special needs kids. He was there for me when I really needed him. I remember when my son Ryan was diagnosed. We were in San Diego, and this was in the 80s, late 80s, and we were supposed to take him to Los Angeles to UCLA, and it was $40,000 just to get him into the program. That was a lot of money in the late 80s, and we'd have to move and all this other stuff. I didn't have it. Didn't think we could make it work. And he said to me, Tom, you go figure out how to make enough money that you can put yours on in any program you ever want and never look back and never regret spending money on your child. And I was like, wow. And that's what we did. And so all this growth you've seen was all because of a couple special needs kids and helping our kids to have a better life, and the encouragement that Bob gave us. And that's what really cranked us. And then as we grew and we bought more real estate, did more businesses, and did all that stuff, it was his teachings on giving back. I just remember, just when I first met him, talking about giving. He was a big giver. And the spiritual side that Bob's talking about, we have a lot of the same beliefs. I think all of us have a lot of the same beliefs, but we're spirit children. We're spiritual children having an earthly experience. Mm-hmm. And our goal is to help every one of you to have a better life, and that's why we created the foundation. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back.